Hey, it's good to see you all. I don't know how many people are online right now. I see a couple of faces watching. It might just be Ali and me right now. But today we're going to be talking to Ali Meeks of Ready Set Sweat. We're going to see how well this video footage works. When I get her online, we'll see if you can all hear her. It's the first time I've done a Facebook Live with a guest like this. Ali will be messaging in from her home office. So we're going to try and go with to Ali now. I'm going to bring her up and we'll see what happens. Okay. So Ali, let me pull up your audio. And if you're watching online now, do me a favor and hit a like to see if you can hear her. I'll just make sure on my headphones that I can hear her or not.
What's up, peeps? Hey guys, how are you?
Let me see.
How's everybody doing? It's a beautiful Thursday. It's not as hot out. Great day.
I think the live is a little bit behind what I can hear, but you can hear Ali, so that's great. I can hear Ali on my iPad. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I'm going to give it a heart. Alrighty, so we should all be good. They should be able to hear us pretty well. It may break up a little bit. I don't know how good my home internet is relative to the internet at my office.
That's cool.
But
I'll ask people how it's going.
alrighty.
Oh, Katie says she can hear us. Yay! Hi, Katie.
Awesome, that's great. I know she went to have lunch with James at kindergarten. He's just started kindergarten, and she was having lunch with him, which is pretty fun.
Oh, how cool.
Alrighty, so we'll start and we'll kind of crack on, and some people are going to watch live and join in, I'm guessing, and some people will watch after the fact. Really, the first question I've got is, and I know some of the answers to this, but you're probably going to surprise me with some things as well, is I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you started Ready, Set, Sweat.
Yeah, sure. So I started Ready Set Sweat in 2013 after a long career in fisheries science. In fisheries, the reason I started that was because I loved to swim. So I figured I should find a career that had something to do with water. And so I did that career for a long time, mostly out of Washington State. And at that time, I came down to the Gulf area to work on the BP oil spill, working in their command center. And I really enjoyed that project, but I found that after the project was over, it was such a challenging and big, event to be involved in that I was a little bored with my previous job and just not as happy there as I was before. And I really felt like I had kind of a lot to give and a lot to share with regard to swimming and triathlon that I had been building up as like everyone else does, as a hobby throughout the years. And it was just something that I really knew a lot about by that time. And I thought, you know what? I think I can do this. And with a lot of prayer and God's help and my husband's encouragement to be an entrepreneur and start something which I was terrified to do, I took a leap and began Ready, Set, Sweat. And so this is our little, you can see obviously our logo type, and our logo, which is, I don't think a lot of people know, was actually designed by one of my clients who specializes in logo design. And we traded swim lessons for the logo. So there you go.
It's a challenge trying to pick a logo, isn't it? I know, like designing the PhysioWorks logo, we ummed and we ahed. I mean, not just about the logo, but about the name. So I think it's pretty cool. It's got a nice sense of order and movement to it. So your client did a really good job with that. And
a lot of people have told me it looks like a swan, which makes me think good things. Like,
yeah. I like that. Well, swans are graceful, and I think that's what you want as a swimmer, don't you?
Right? So
that's pretty important. I'm going to put in the comments here the link to Ali's website, and we've already linked to her Facebook page, but you can you'll see in the comments that pop up of her page. And all right, so tell us a bit. Let's backtrack a little bit. So that's you coming as a triathlon coach and a small business owner, having worked in a different industry. Tell us about yourself as an athlete. How did you end up working? I guess how did you end up being a swimmer at first?
Yeah, for sure. Swimming has always been my passion. I can see that my mom is live watching us, and she's the one that knows that I was the little 2-year-old that began to walk off the side of the pool when they didn't realize they couldn't swim. And so straight away she put me in swim lessons, realizing that was the smartest thing to do.
Yep.
Because I don't know if you know, but I can be kind of stubborn. And so she knew this, and so put me in swim lessons right away.
Hmm.
And I was very passionate about swimming all my life and would cry every time we left the pool. And she would say, if you don't behave, we are not ever coming back to the pool. Well, thankfully, I don't know if I behaved or not, but she did bring me back to the pool. And I, in fact, started swimming on swim team and swam at Miami University in college, and really enjoyed the Division I experience. But was kind of ready for something else after that, and was kind of, I don't know, suckered into or sort of convinced into looking at triathlon as an outlet that swimming was quite intense at the college level, and I was looking for something that I could just kind of enjoy again. And so I started doing triathlon because we also had another friend who suckered me into marathon running, which I had never been a runner. I ran cross country, but not seriously, just to keep in shape for swim season. So they were like, the two of them sort of got together and said, hey, you know what? All you need is a bike. And so that was back in the year 1990 something, and started beginning triathlons right when it was, as you guys all probably know, sort of was starting to become something that people thought about doing, and then walked into sprint distance and Olympic distance and half iron distance out in Washington State, which is a very popular place for triathlon and bike riding. It's one of the most I guess vocal bike riding regions in our country, other than Huntsville. They're just very outside oriented, and so began moving through that process and started doing Ironman distance races, and just kind of went from there. So
when you were a collegiate athlete, what distances were you swimming? Were you one of the longest swimmers? I'm guessing you were.
I was kind of a I don't know what you call that, a misstep, a misnomer. I don't know what the right word is, but I swam 100 and 200 back stroke and 200 and 400 IM, which in swimming are considered, I mean, the 100 is obviously a sprint. The 400 IM is a little bit of a weird animal. It's all different, all 4 strokes, but I loved the 400 IM. It required the greatest amount other than the 200 fly is I think the most grueling of the swimming sports or swimming events. And I really liked the fact that this is how I described it. Any race where you can reach down inside your body and pull up your esophagus and your guts and you just rip them out, like that's a race that I enjoyed. And that's what the 400 IM feels like. So right. I was not a distance freestyler, mm-hmm. which is funny because triathlon at the 400, even sprint distance, that's considered at least a mid-distance to longer distance event in swimming.
Right.
So yeah.
So that's interesting. That's an interesting transition that you made. And did you find it quite a challenging transition at first?
I think for one, biking, I just did not have the power, and still to this day, it's the weakest part of me is the power. Of course, I work a lot of strength training, but the power is different from swimming to moving to triathlon, because cycling legs need a different type of energy systems a lot of the time, getting up hills and whatnot, than swimming does, because it's a power sport, but I don't know, it's just a different way of using your quads in a different way was big transition. But I had done a lot of cycling just recreationally, and so I think I had built that power just from grinding out. I had done some trips across China, not the whole country, but small parts of China. I'd ridden across Iowa. I've ridden across the whole state of Oregon, from Washington down to California with a friend of mine, and so had built some cycling muscles. So that transition was kind of, it happened at the same time, but cycling became something that I got better at, but still was more of a weaker side because I came from endurance. Swimming, even though you race in sprint events, the training is very endurance based. It's 2.5 to 4 to 5 hours a day, and so that's a lot like what endurance sports are like.
Yeah. So, having been were you a single sport athlete when you were in college? Like just swimming, you didn't do anything else?
Just swimming, and partially because our coach sort of was like, you will not do anything else because you will not get injured. I mean, he let us run a little, but
I mean,
yeah.
it's really interesting. I haven't seen any stats with swimmers, but for other sports, football, baseball, we're seeing like with single sport athletes that in high school through in maybe starting into college that they're more prone to injury than a multi-sport athlete, and so that's quite interesting. So you went from collegiate swimming. Did you have many injuries when you were swimming in college?
No, I never did. And
Pretty
partially
cool.
probably just because of youth. I mean, I was only 20 something at that age. And as you know, 20 somethings are invincible.
They bounce.
And so I think I started to have a little bit of biceps tendonitis, but it wasn't ever any issue in my swimming. I never had a problem in swimming that held me back
Okay.
performance wise. So I was very lucky. I have a very durable body, and that's just thanks to my dad. So thanks, Dad.
Well, I mean, hopefully that also was some good coaching as well through the time when you were swimming in college. But I think from my perspective as a PT, I see people who are these single sport athletes and they end up with overuse injuries, or sometimes we call it an under recovery injury, really, just because they're using it so much and there's no time to recover. And that's one reason I think triathlon is a really awesome pursuit, because you are using the body in different ways. It's not that same repetitive action. It's not that same repetitive loading. So I think it's I think some swimmers I see, I guess I see a good number of young swimmers who've had shoulder injuries. So my view is a little bit skewed because I see people who are hurt, but some of those ones I'm like, pick up triathlon. It might be a really good thing for you to help you maybe not load up that shoulder so much and do some other things.
That's right. And I had a good coaching staff who realized the importance of strength training and flexibility early on. Even though my high school coaches, yeah, I mean, this was back in I'm not even going to say what year in the 90s because that would totally like rat me out. But no, I'm just kidding. This is like 91, 92 that I was graduating. So that time frame, they were really already understanding the importance of dry land, which is the swimmer word for strength training. And we did it a lot every day before practice. Lots and lots of bands, lots and lots of medicine ball, lots and lots of all kinds of stuff. So we did a lot to support those musculature that wasn't just swimming. So it wasn't like we just got in and swam 3 hours a day, which we did, sometimes on Saturdays, but every day we did something strengthening the structures.
Okay, well, that's great. So
Yeah.
so as a triathlon coach, and I want to make sure we don't go too long with this because I know you and I we can talk for ages. What's your favorite thing about your job?
Oh my gosh. I love my job. I think I say it every day when I'm at the pool. I usually yell it because when something exciting happens, I get really pumped about it. And it's just kind of fun to see. This is it. People doing stuff that they didn't think they could do. And I'm sure a lot of coaches, swim coaches or swim instructors would say that, but it happens all the time. And it is thrilling. And I'm sure you guys all know what I'm talking about because you've all done a race or something that you never thought you could do. And it's so cool to be part of that journey because some people come in knowing, yeah, I can do this. Some people don't come in knowing they can do it. And so even from kids, teaching kids to swim, being like, hey, I didn't know I could swim across the pool when I show them a float and then they use their arms. When they come up, I say, hey, guess what? You were swimming. They're like, well, I was? It's wow. And so it's stuff they didn't know they could do and didn't know was possible. And then with triathlon coaching, I'm getting to see people meet goals and do things they didn't think they could do. Or I didn't think they could do. Sometimes they just blow me away. It's amazing to get to that. That's the best part of the job. And that's the part that's addicting. Right. That I never had in my other job.
Yeah.
Restoration projects get done, salmon get saved. I'm not putting down that industry. It's just, you don't get this like really cool kind of like feedback every day that you're seeing that you're making a difference in someone's safety or in someone's, ability, their confidence in themselves. These are things that you don't get to see every day. And I'm not saying it's, there's not other days, right, that stuff doesn't happen, that we don't get to see progress. And it's like any job. There's days that, believe me, I do not want to get in the pool again. But
Right.
but on the days that it happens, you just leave the pool just like, yeah.
Well, I mean,
So,
you have the challenges, just like I do, of being a small business owner and an entrepreneur. You've got to keep doing things to keep business turning. You haven't got a big marketing department behind you. I mean, I see in the background your Ready, Set, Sweat boards there that you take out to
yeah,
expos and stuff. And
that's on purpose.
But I think what I think is really cool about some of what you've done is I've seen that you've done stuff with people kind of at the higher end of the sport. So you've done the stuff with Sheila with the swim speed secrets, but then also
Yes.
done stuff really right at the most basic end, taking people who are afraid of swimming. Or, I mean, I think you even told me maybe you've had more than one client do this who signed up for a triathlon not being able to swim, and you've taken to
Yes.
be able to swim and finish a sprint triathlon. I mean, I think that's really neat that you've got the ability to take people at both ends. That's pretty cool.
That's right. That's right. And that is definitely going back on that just for two things. One, Sheila Tarmina, that's who he's talking about. That's a 4-time Olympian, 1-time gold medalist in the 4x200 free relay. She was a pentathlete and a triathlete and a swimmer. So
Wow.
one of the only U.S. women to ever go to the Olympics in 3 different sports. So she's pretty amazing. And she does clinics all around, plus out of her hometown in Sarasota. So you can check her website at SheilaT.com. I can put that in the comments here so you guys can check her out. She's a wonderful person and a great coach. And then secondly, yes, I love treating people that are new to the sport because it's something that, like I said, it's something usually that they're like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. And you get to instill that confidence and see them succeed. But definitely, I would not recommend someone signing up for a triathlon who doesn't know how to swim. I think it's a great goal to have while you're learning to swim. Someday I'd like to do a triathlon, but don't put that timeline on yourself. If you're someone who's watching who does not know how to swim, learn first, get comfortable with the water first, then put in the future a day that you're going to do a triathlon, but learn first and don't crunch the two together. It's two separate things.
Well, and that takes stress off of you, but also off of Coach Ali, right?
Well, yes. We talk about in my adult swimming classes, which I'm actually teaching one this weekend. They're two weekends. The class is actually 2 weekends. It's called Beginning Adult Swimming, or Beginning Class is the name of the class. And the method we teach is called Miracle Swimming. And that class is 24 hours of class. You can find out about it on my website. Click Miracle Swimming. In that class, those folks are usually afraid of the water, have fear of the water. That's just a great class to learn and understand the mechanics of how the water works. Right. But in that class, we really talk a lot about how it relates to the questions that triathletes have and the things I see about triathletes, which is, I'm afraid of deep open water. You know what? 64% of people are afraid of deep open water. You're not by yourself. And there are a lot of things in the Miracle Swimming, I guess, the learning that are useful for triathletes. So there's a lot of crossover. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually writing a book right now. It's been in process for a while with my co-author, Melon Dash, who is the Miracle Swimming founder. And we're writing a book that's going to cross over beginning adult fears of water swimming with triathlons and fears of water, because in all of the stuff that I've read, and back here there's a bookshelf full of books about triathlon swimming, and not one of those talks about the fact that we're persons and that we need to accept that there is something inside of us that's not just physical. We can't just push ourselves through fear. It doesn't work. We can, but it doesn't stick. So we're writing a book that's going to talk about that. So I don't know if that was off topic, but there you go.
I think that's really cool because you and I sometimes we exchange articles and exchange different things. And what I like is you take, just like how I try and write a blog to try and transmit information to my clients. You're doing a similar with writing a book. I think that's really cool. So you'll have to let us all know once that's released. And
I cannot wait. Because there's so much information that needs to get out there. And everyone that takes the open water swimming clinics that I do in the summer that are kind of fun, they're 1-hour clinics a couple times a month just to get people in the water and give them some open water skills. Right. We talk about a lot of that miracle swimming. I can't think of the word. I guess dogma. Right. Just not to think of a better word. We talk about some of that stuff, but we don't get to really go into depth about it. And so the book, I hope, is going to kick off a lot more discussion in the triathlon community, not just here in Huntsville, but nationwide and worldwide about how we can look at swimming and triathlon and see how they connect. Swimming as a safety thing, and triathlon as something that we can swim safely in and not be afraid of, and not have panic attacks that lead to cardiac, or cardiac that lead to panic attacks, whichever way. We don't need to be doing things that we're afraid of. We need to be doing things that we're excited about and comfortable with. So that's kind of my personal vendetta, my personal soapbox about it.
No, that's really cool. So I think are you gonna do a book signing, a book release once it comes out?
I hope so. That'd be fun. Yeah, we should. Yeah,
That'd be
for
great.
sure. Do something. We'll have a big old party.
Well, we know how much the triathlon and running community like the small brew pubs around the area and the breweries. So
Right.
you could have a good fun event.
That's right. And I've already started, being the type of person I am, I'm a planner. And I have started a list of people who I think would really need to see the book. And these are like the CEO of USA Triathlon. I've been in touch with him. I've been in touch with some other people in the community about triathlon that I kind of see, like the CEO of Vasa, creates Vasa trainers. I've been talking with him through email, just letting them know about our book, that it's coming out. And I've gotten some really good feedback, and we'll see how it turns out. They might be like, okay, you crazy guys, we don't think it's a good book, but I do think it's going to bring an important message to the triathlon world, and I hope we get as many people hearing about it. It's not just about the book. I mean, it's about the message. I don't care if people buy the book. Like, I just want them to get the message. That's what the most important thing is.
Well, that's awesome. Alrighty. So my final question, then we can sort of open it up to questions of other people who are online, is what is the best advice you have for working through an injury as an athlete? And I mean, that comes from your perspective as a collegiate swimmer, a triathlete yourself, and also coaching and what you maybe tell your athletes.
Yeah, I think, oh my gosh, the first thing is just to think outside the box. And I think that sometimes injury, it depends on what kind of person you are. Sometimes people that are injured are like, I'm so bummed, I can't do my thing. Sometimes people are looking for an excuse not to do their thing. And you know which kind of people you are. But I think most of us in the triathlon and endurance world are frustrated and want to get back to our thing. So think about what else, my best advice is think about what else you can do. Can you do anything else? Can you, if you've got an Achilles tendon tear, can you get in the weight room and just become a beast and do all of the swimming related stuff with your upper body during the 6 months or whatever that you can't do, or you're rehabbing? What else can you do? Can you, if you've got like everybody knows Coach Tom Longino from our company has right now got a shoulder surgery that's just happened. Can he do something with his lower body? Depending on what his doctors and PT say, can he do water jogging, or think about things that are outside of even stuff you've not even thought of. Is there yoga? Is there something I can do to keep myself moving, to keep the serotonin going in my brain, because we're used to that, and we're going to be depressed and sad if we go right from all those endorphins to nothing.
Right.
So my best advice is really be creative and think about what you can do instead of what you can't do. And yes, I mean, you might be in a body cast in the ICU, but probably not.
Right.
So
I think
if you're not, what else can you do?
Well, else I think kind of what you're bringing up there is actually think of it as an opportunity. Don't go down that depressed, sad, woe is me kind of route, which it's easy for us to say when we're not injured. But if you think of it as an opportunity, I have that discussion with my clients sometimes. They're really bummed that maybe they've got a small stress reaction, they can't run. And I'm like, you can't run, but you can still do other stuff that doesn't load the bone and gets you strong in ways that you haven't been able to get in a while. Or someone who's, exactly, or someone who's maybe not planning to do a race for a while because they've had an injury and they're bummed about that. And I'm like, look, you've got all this time to do a race. You've got time to build up strength that you didn't have before, and try to improve balance that you didn't have before. And that's a great opportunity.
So true. And if there's things too that if you really are out of commission, your doctor says, no, you may not do. Some people have, jaw surgery. I know a client and colleague of mine a year or so ago had jaw surgery, and it was like there was very limited stuff. Hey, what else can you do? Can you serve others? Can you volunteer for races? Can you stuff packets? Can you be on the board? Are there things you can do that are outside of me that you can help others with? That's, it's something we can all grow in. That's not just something that I think that we should all do just because I'm like, you all should be better. I should, like I do this so well. But
Right.
we as a community can come together and think of things that we can do for one another. Are there elderly people that need meals cooked? Are there people that need help with whatever? Can you go have tea with someone who doesn't get to get out much? Is there stuff like that you can do? And ultimately, I mean, even those things somehow are selfish because they make us feel good about ourselves. But think really far outside the box. I've got a blog about it. I can actually put a link to on here about that too. Just really think what you can do, not what you can't do.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so what things are coming up on the horizon for Ready, Set, Sweat?
Oh my gosh.
Do we have enough time?
Yeah, the Miracle Swimming book is going to be good. I think we have another class in October. So
Awesome.
Teaching more people how to swim and getting that, more known about, I think would be important, especially in the African American community, which I feel like is very underserved for swimming. So that's something that I'm very passionate about. We are coaching. We have this really awesome program, if you haven't heard about it, from last year called Winter Hammer that we're going to start again in November. So that's another exciting program, which this year we have some extra new goodies that we're adding to that program that we didn't have last year. So that's coming up this fall.
You'll link to
and
that in the
both
comments in a bit.
What's that?
You can link to that in the comments in a bit.
Yes, we'll link to that as well. Yes. And then I'm also going to, we also have our other coaches with Tom coaching and myself coaching. Now we have, 2 coaches that are available with rosters, a combined roster of probably about 15 people. And so we've got that going on. Of course, swim lessons in the summer. Actually, we coach swim lessons year round. So if someone wants swim lessons, both learning to swim as a miracle swimmer, or if they're already a swimmer and they need swim stroke help, that's something that Tom and I do year round. A lot of people think of swimming as just being a summer thing, but we do it all year. So we're there.
What ages do you typically coach from for swimming?
Yeah, so for kids teaching swimming, like learning how to swim, I teach kids ages 4 and up. And that includes adults. And the adults are the method that I teach, that miracle swimming method. So and then for triathletes, any age, if somebody's a triathlete and wants to learn, I've actually coached a family that has 3 little girls that are all little triathletes. And we work on the first swim skills, being safe in the deep end and getting air, but then also now they've all learned strokes and they're all getting better at their freestyles and they're doing great in the kids triathlons around here.
That's great.
So, and and the kids instruction is out of Decatur. Tom Longino teaches, more out of Huntsville, and he's the triathlon swimming and triathlon coaching. The kids stuff really just happens at Decatur because it's me and 2 other instructors here in Decatur that teach kids.
Right. Well, that's great. And okay. So that sounds like a pretty action-packed remainder of the year. I mean, it's crazy.
Yes.
And
I gotta mention. Can I mention Swim Hubs Island, which is not part of Ready, Set, Sweat, but is a Team Rocket event that's coming up September 16th, which is a Sunday. We have races of 1, 2, and 5 miles. We need kayakers. We need volunteers. We want more swimmers. We're part of what's now called the Tennessee Triple Crown, which is a cool idea that we came together with 2 other race directors to come up with. If you swim all 3 races in either 1, 2, or 3 years, you get a special prize, a gold, bronze, or silver something. And so that's really cool because that's put us on the radar of the World Open Water Swimming Association, and we're on the map. Like, people know about Swim Hubs Island because of Swim the Suck and Bridges to Bluffs, which are the other 2 swims, and because of this Tennessee Triple Crown, we're kind of a big deal, if you know what I'm talking about.
So, as well as organizing that, will you be swimming it yourself?
I can't. It's too crazy. No way. Okay. And then, the sad thing was that used to be my favorite race of the year.
Really?
And I won it back in, I think, before I started race directing, like 2015. And I won it because the year before, the girl that won it was younger than me. And I was like, I'm coming after you. I'm coming after you. And so I came back just like ready to go. And then, of course, I was asked to help race direct it the next year. And then I haven't been able to swim it. So I've been doing other races. There are plenty of other open water swim races. And just like triathlon, the more we participate in these regional and national other swim races, the more we build the sport of open water swimming. And so it doesn't hurt my feelings that I can't swim Hobbs Island, but one year, someday, I may be able to do it again.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Do you have any other particular things you want to tell the world about?
Oh my gosh.
And,
I don't know.
and I don't know if anyone who's watching live right now has any questions. I know sometimes this is not the greatest time always for people. So if you are watching after the fact, the replay, you can always put them in the comments. You can email us, send us a private message, call us. My email is andrew.walker@physioworkshsv.com. Phone number 2565297395. I'll let Ali say hers out. What's yours?
I guess I would just say that we've already got some people who are interested in the Triple Crown for Swim Hobbs Island. So we're going to have some Triple Crowners this year. And I should say that we have a tremendous number of volunteers and sponsors that are part of that already. So we're very lucky to be supported by Team Rocket Tri Club, who, if you are not a member, you should so be a member. It is like the best deal ever. $35 a year, and you can be invited to the kickoff parties, the summer stuff that we have, the open water swims. It's just awesome. So Team Rocket Tri Club, get involved in that if you're new in triathlon. And then I have a lot of other great sponsors that are part of the race that have just been fantastic, because I don't know if you guys know this, but all the money that Team Rocket raises for every race, once we pay our bills, goes to charity. Every single cent. So it's not like you're paying ridiculous race fees because we just like are pocketing money and going and buying fancy hats like this one for Rocket Man for this weekend. But we are a charity organization. That's what we're doing. We're giving money all the time to great charities that each race director gets to select. And for Swim Hobbs Island, of course, our charity is a local food bank. So, and yeah, it's just a great organization. So get on it.
Totally. I mean, having been to the Team Rocket Tri end of year party and seeing the different checks being given out to the charities, there's some pretty big checks. It's pretty awesome to see how much they do in the community with that.
Yeah, help us give a really massive check to our food bank. That would be awesome. They are a very small local food bank, and they had a fundraiser a couple weeks ago where they made like $157, and they were pumped about it. And we are like hoping, you guys, like if we'd be thrilled to be able to give them like $2,000. Like how cool would that be to just be like able to do that? So that's our passion, and that's why we do what we do for Swim Hobbs Island, is to be able to give and support swimmers and have a great day. It's going to be a fun day. So thanks for coming out and swimming it, and thanks for supporting it already in advance.
That's awesome. All right. Does anyone have any questions that is watching right now? If not, like I say, you can always put comments in after the fact. We'll be checking them. I think Ali's going to add a few more links, perhaps, to some of the things that she's involved in. We've talked for about 33 minutes now. I think, like I say, Ali and I, we're talkers. We could talk a lot longer.
I better let you go. No, and by the way, I can see that my mom's saying right now that she's excited to read my book. So that makes me feel really good. Thanks, Mom.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm excited that you're putting a book out there, because, I mean, you've got this huge amount of knowledge, and you bring a lot to this community. I know I work with a good number of your clients over time. Some of them who want to perform better, they're looking at, can I help as a physical therapist, maybe their running technique. Occasionally people do get hurt, or they get hurt before they see you, and I always hear really positive things about you. And like I say, we've spent a lot of time together over the past couple of years talking about different things, and you're a great asset to the local swimming and triathlon community, and people need to really treat you as a good resource. So hopefully more people will continue to reach out to you, and I'll just give us one more minute till we get to 35 minutes to ask if anyone else has any questions. You can comment there. If you don't right now, or if you're watching this after the fact, you can always comment after, and we'll try and revisit it and answer questions.
Definitely.
You can send messages, you can email us, you can call us. You've got links to our Facebook business pages, and my website is going to be in the comments. Ali's one is already in the comments, and you need to ask whatever questions you want. There's no bad questions, way I look at it.
That's true. I'm super glad to be able to share the gift that God has given me to be able to do this work. I come from a family of teachers. My mom, who said she's excited to read my book, is a teacher or was a teacher for many years. And my sister was also for a time before she became like an incredible mathematics person. Like she got an amazing gene for that. But I'm just so grateful that, God's given me this ability. And so I'm just glad to be able to share it and be able to help people that need to work on their triathlon skills and help them become more comfortable and confident. So I'm just glad to be able to do it.
Alrighty. Well, I don't see any questions coming in right now, so maybe we'll get some later
Yeah.
on. But I'm going to say thank you to Ali for coming on and being my first live Skype in on a Facebook Live. It's pretty cool. It seems to have worked. Give me feedback if you watch this after the fact and find it was problems.
Yeah, exactly. If you found it really boring, let us know.
Yeah, definitely. I can't imagine anything with Ali involved would be boring though. So, all right. So I'm going to sign off, and I hope you all have a really good day.
Sounds awesome. Bye, guys.